Hi guys. Uh, hi guys. Hi to myself. What's up? Today's thought process are these. Logical approach is to create the logic behind your approach. I wrote this, I thought about it once before. I was actually discussing with myself naturally as the state always flows. By the way, I am very much getting into the winter setting here. I moved to the mountains so I can spend a couple of days with my dad. Love to show you the view. It's actually pretty nice. But and it's been raining all day, so it's super fucking cool. I've been napping. Like this is my face when I just wake up from nap. So the only logical approach is to the logical approach is to create the logic behind your approach. Because everything we're doing, it's not about what we're doing, it's how we're doing it and the logic behind how we're doing it. I don't know if I can talk about that as much as I would like. There's no preference towards how I would want to negotiate it. But if I were to apply it to the business, to the contract that I got and the reasoning behind it, I could actually rationalize how every single mistake has been an impulse from the decision that we actually tried to take. So the people I work with have a way of making decisions and kind of don't necessarily understand how they're making them. And I felt like for me, even though sometimes I make a decision, I always kind of like question why. I stopped asking where it's coming from. I don't know. I feel like that's a solid state you have to be in, and there's a way that you kind of be like, I am sure that it came from me or from my own basically reasoning towards what's happening in front of what I need to do, what I need to apply it to. But when talking to other people, when working with other people, then once I notice a state of repetitiveness, that means they can't ask myself themselves the extra question. They can't respond to the extra question. They can't reason with the extra question. And over the past couple of weeks, there's been some drama. I think I mentioned the drama and I discussed the drama. And I ended up having the conversation with them. I think here is where I discussed the drama. Oof, yeah. Anyways, so I had the meeting with the dude and we had a conversation. Work, remember, right? Because my idea is for them to kind of like make different decisions or make decisions differently. So after having the meeting with the dude, we kind of like tripped on the same things that come back and forth. Bring the same. How do I express this or explain this without actually expressing the conversation? Because the goal is for us not to kind of like direct and give examples, so that we are always able to explain the concept beyond ourselves. All these questions are valid in my head. I hope whoever kind of listens to this actually gets to understand, or at least whatever, dude. Okay, so he kept repeating that he understands, that he knows, and he feels, and I kept saying, "It's okay, all right, great for you." I kept saying that in different ways because I felt like I should accept that him feeling is good, is okay, is acknowledged. The same way if someone's angry, the minute you accept they're angry, the minute you acknowledge that they could be angry, that they should be angry, that they can be angry, they instantly kind of like calm down and relax because their entire anger kind of like dissipates. Ultimately, people want to be heard. So I kept doing that, but there's a lot of him that kind of is just wanting to be heard and he doesn't hear himself like speak it and repeat it. So today in a conversation with him, I was trying to, we were trying to go back and forth on the questionnaires of how we can actually talk to the people. And for them, they insist the first thing they need to do is talk to the guy about the products. And I insist on the first phone call they don't do it. So, anyways, I went to them and I was like, all right, guys, if you ask him about the product, what's he gonna tell you? He's gonna tell you, yes, I liked it, or no, I didn't like it. But if you ask him about everything else and you tell him you're from this company, the first thing, if he doesn't like the product, he's gonna tell you that. And if he does like the product, he's just gonna like talk to you normally as if everything's cool. Which means in both questions and both approaches, we get the same answer. Yes, but we used to feel this, we used to feel that. I go like, I understand. But if you ask that question, ask me that question, I would answer you yes or no. And then after the yes, what do you ask? And then no, what do you ask? If there's an issue, you know what issue it could be. If there is no issue, that means there's no point asking this question because your customer will tell you if he has a problem. Kept going back and forth with him trying to explain to me how we actually like how he felt his questions would allow him to work. And then I looked at him and I was like, let me tell you something. If you repeat the same thing you said earlier, that means you either don't want me to speak or you're not understanding what I'm saying. If you're not understanding what I'm saying, I'd rather you say, thought it, I'm not understanding what you're saying, instead of you assuming that I didn't understand what you said. Because I'm not making this assumption with him. How can you make that assumption with me? It was beautiful because he went quiet for the rest of the meeting. He just sat there, listened, and actually like was more focused than he was first of the meeting. I don't know if that's a positive sign for me. How do I reflect on such a setting? What I looked at is the logic behind my approach is more important than the logic of the approach. And I assume every single thing I do, this is something in the back of my head. And this is something I want to be engaged with all the time. Because it's my movement, my flow that matters most in what I'm trying to do. And everything else around me is just kind of like either going to respond to that or react to it. How would I transform my logic? How would I keep my eye on my logic? If self actualization is a thing, then basically every single thing I am trying to be is going to self actualize in the people in front of me. And ultimately, I don't know if I'm smart enough to kind of start realizing how to change my logic when I am within the actual conversation or meeting. But at the very least, every single time things like this happen, I actually am able to kind of like look at them, although I don't really take notes towards them. Ooh, yesterday I had a good conversation with myself about all the copybooks that I'm using to take notes, which feel like they're flooding my actual front end. So I should actually sort that out as well. But we have a couple of videos to go today, and I'll probably go back to it. I, the logic behind approach, behind your own approach. I think we should stop here, man. Everything is a testing phase if you look at things as a game. And when you're interacting with somebody for an end result, it's a game to be played. What does he want? What do you want? It's very mechanical. Sometimes it feels very calculated. It is. It needs to be. Because at the very least, you're dealing with your selfishness and trying to understand what you're trying to interact with. But on the other side, the others don't really like have any understanding of that. And if you want something, you do what you have to do in order to get it. And it all depends on the type of person that you are. It's a bit intense, man, I'm not gonna lie. But I think that could be a video.